When I'm sitting down with any salesperson in any organization I'm involved in, I'm looking at this. And whether this relates to you, it's how many qualified leads, how many appointments do I set, and this to me is how many hands you shake and how many people you're in front of. Follow up on old leads. What do you do voraciously? You know, you heard him talking about follow up, follow up, follow up. Do you have a system for following up on things 3, 4, 5, or 6 times? Sometimes I sell people in different industries 2 years after I meet them. That's a long time, but why let the name go away? Because when I'm driving, I'm on the phone. I bet my phone is occupied from the time I get in the car in the morning, which was 6 a.m. this morning, till the time I go home tonight, okay? Qualified prospects, offers equal closed sales, and this is equal to your income. So you've got to total these issues up, okay? What is a qualified prospect? A lot of the objection questions that you all shared with Brian, we're going to kind of qualify some of them. I'm going to ask you to share them, and we're going to ask, is it a real objection? Is it reality? Like, hey, the market sucks, right? Is that kind of a condition of the world right now? Can you read the paper? So the market is not really good. And then I have excuses. So are some things excuses for not succeeding, right? So people have to have the need, the want, the desire. What is different about desire or want than need? What do people need as a home? They need a roof over their head, a bedroom. I just saw the newest designed home by an architect. It's like 230 square feet. You know, a family can live in it, right? It was in the newspaper. Yeah. It's like this 3-level. Did you see that? Because I'm a voracious reader. Yeah, it's like this mini home. That's what people need. Yeah. So that's what people need. So why are they buying houses for $200,000? I was in one a month ago that sold over here for $24 million. Did they need it? As a matter of fact, I thought it was kind of too big a house. But did they need it? So what's a desire? Why do people have desires? Because they want something better, right? So you need to understand the difference between need, want, desire. Budget capacity to pay for our services, that's where these gentlemen come in. If they are pre-approved, you still want to get them to them. If they're not pre-approved, you want to get them to them before you spin your wheels, right? If somebody's not pre-approved, are you going to go out and show them 10 houses? No. Not me, okay? Because they're wasting your time. And your time, you don't get paid for your time, you get paid for production.
If they're not pre-approved, yeah, it's like shopping in a candy store. I got to see some kind of effort.
Before you go.
Some
Absolutely.
Of where your money's coming from.
And guys, my wife and I went to look at a house down in Del Mar Country Club the other day. It's next door to this nice house, and it was actually about a month ago. And we called the real estate agent. My wife saw it Sunday morning. That looks like the house that we want to buy. And so I said, okay, let's go. And she called the lady, and the lady said, are you pre-approved? No. What's the next question you ask?
Have you ever been?
No.
Would you like to?
No.
Do you know what you can afford? What do you think you can afford? I start
$4 million. $4 million.
$4 million. How much do you make a year? I start asking lender questions.
I've got $7 million in the bank.
$7 million in the bank? Okay,
Yeah.
That sounds good. Let's meet.
Do you see how she said, are you qualified? The answer was no. We have cash. There's a lot of cash buyers these days. Okay? So no, we don't need to qualify. We've got cash to buy it. So budget capacity to pay for our services. And don't ever assume that the person can't pay for it. Make sure they can, though, by qualifying them. Decision maker. When you're dealing with real estate transactions, how often is it a husband-wife team? How often is it a husband-wife team? 50%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100? Is it some less than 50? So it's usually a single person then, is what you're saying?
Well, in my
half.
Half? Okay. So is it the decision maker? When you've got one person and they're buying and they're qualified, yes it is. But when you're dealing with couples, shouldn't you have both of them go look? But who really makes the decision? In my house. So.
She's the one that will stop it.
Yeah, wives will stop it, yeah. Offer, when we delivered it, what was the reaction and feedback? Like Steve said, how many times do you deliver offers that people go, woohoo, this is the best offer I've ever seen, right?
Never.
Doesn't happen, right? Even when inside they're going, I never thought I'd get an offer like this ever, they never share it. The best example I ever saw of that is I was helping a friend sell his company. We wanted to sell it for $7 million. The first offer we got was $15 million. He was dancing around the room. We were in this room right here. He was dancing around the room, high-fiving his partners, and I said, calm down, because you've got to call them and tell them it looks okay. And you can't pretend you're happy, because otherwise they're going to pull money off the table, or they're going to recognize they overpaid for the company. He sold it for $15 million, and it was worth $7 million. The client relationship, and Steve talked about this. Do you own it, or are you just invited to the beauty contest? So what differentiates you from every other real estate agent in the world? What is your personal brand? Who are you? Right? How do you look to the client? What do you say to the client? What's your interaction with them? Okay? So I think he talked a lot about that, being enthusiastic and positive and asking the right questions and doing all the right things. So do you own it? To me, the true sales stars in the world that I look out to that have worked with me, some of my salespeople now have worked with me for 17 years in different organizations, and they're business partners now, not just salespeople. They own relationships. I don't care if there's 5 competitors in the deal. The true superstars will own the relationships. Timeline. You've heard about goals being smart, you know. Timeline, when is it going to happen? A lot of times, will the customer tell you when they're going to buy a house? They're going to buy it when they see the right deal at the right time, at the right price, when the wind's blowing the right way and everything lines up, then they'll buy a house, right? I think you've got to create the timeline in most sales. You have to take responsibility for getting an offer, making something happen. Because if you don't, nothing will ever happen. And then competition. Who's your competition? Now, in listing or selling or buying, you've just got to determine who you're competing with, right? And what your competitive advantage is. All of these things from here down, I call branding. What is your personal brand? Who are you? What do you present to people?